all right, so what is it that you need? And if they don't fit to what I do, then I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to change for you. So, and I don't say that in a snobby way, but it's just, hey, it's big ocean, lots of fish. You're going to find somebody that suits your needs a little bit better than I will.
Yeah, because you don't really plan lessons out and stuff, don't you? Just bullshit.
Well, I mean, it depends on who that I'm working with. So
So if you have a kid who's reading a book, you'll go read the book or something.
of course.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there are people that I mean, there are people that need grammar help. So yeah,
Fair enough.
you have to plan a little bit in advance. But uh, yeah, just I mean, yes, new students today, have new students tomorrow, I have new students on Saturday. Um,
Good Lord, man.
I know.
At least I concentrate mine into full classes. So,
It's fine. I mean,
yeah, I guess so, man. I have gotten a couple pings from a couple places. They're like, "Do you do stats tutoring?" I'm like, "No, but I might." So,
yeah, you're probably a better negotiator too. You're just kind of like, as a successful negotiator, I forget who is supposed to set the anchor price first.
you always let them do that first.
Always let them
Yeah,
do that.
never ever put your stake in the ground first if it can be avoided. So never ever make the first offer. Never ever take the first offer. Those are your two rules of negotiation. There's
Okay.
actually more than that. So it's like, yeah. So it's never make the first offer. Never take the first offer. There's always a better one behind it. If they speed up, you slow down. So, what's the other one? There's
Shit, I'm gonna write this down. No.
I teach this shit, man. So
No,
it's
okay,
kind of fun.
okay.
What else? There's another one in there that's called the. It's like the 3 Qs or the 3 Rs or something like that. 3C, I can't remember. But basically, it's like when you're negotiating, understand what it's going to cost you, understand what it's going to cost them, okay, and find a spot between those 2 points, okay? So, because if you're going over what you're willing to spend, okay, so you're overrunning. That's called negotiating with yourself, where you like go in and you look at a car and you say, I'm not going to spend more than $50,000 on a car. But then you see one there that's 55 and it's got everything that you want except for that $5,000 extra dollars. So they put those at price points like that because, I mean, they're just experienced. They know that they can get you in for like the extra 3 or 4 grand or like 5 or 10% on something like that. Just because you want to be done with the negotiating process, but they specifically will try and throw you in a situation where you start like bending your rules. Don't do that. They were like, man, this is a great car. It's got everything I want, except for it's $5,000 too expensive. And they'll be like, well, we can do it for maybe like $4,000 more. And you're like, no, that's still $4,000 too expensive. So, and eventually, yeah, you'll find out whether or not they're actually still within their cost window. If they're not, they'll just tell you to piss off. That's fine. It's like going down to Target and saying, I'll give you $10 for this pair of jeans. They're going to tell you to fuck off.
So when you see something like that, do you just go straight forward and say, well, because you said you're not supposed to anchor first.
Unless you have to. So if I go to Target, I'm not going to say, well, what will you take for this pair of jeans? They're going to be like, it's on the fucking price tag. Yeah.
What's
So,
it say?
yeah.
$15.99, so I'll take $15.99.
Yeah. So, but if you're negotiating in other situations, usually there's someone who has a little bit more of a reason to close the deal than the other one. And so if you just like if you're trying to sell a house because you're moving next week, all right, and someone says, yeah, what do you take for this place? You might throw out an offer just to get negotiations going, so to speak. Or, I mean, like employers do all this all the time, So they'll say, well, what are your salary requirements? So, especially when they're particularly shady employers because they want to lowball you.
Okay, so are you supposed to like throw out a fuck off answer at that point too, where they say like, so what are your salary requirements?
You can do that, but I mean, if the window that they have planned for that job is like 60 to 70,000, you say I want 90, they'll be like, oh, okay, we'll get back in touch with you and never fucking call you. So they'll just get the next guy on the list, and so that's what you have. That's the risk that you run. when you do that. There's no mitigating that. So
Okay.
it just is, because that's the hidden information that they have that you don't have access to.
So like that example
So-
with the car, right? You see it at 55, and they have that flexibility parked in. Like, are you supposed to say, "Hey, this would be my dream car right here" if it were $45,000?
You can do that. So they might come down a little bit. You're supposed to anchor a little bit lower. But sometimes it's effective to just say, like, guys, I have 50. If you want 50, you got it. All right. But I can't go a penny over that. And then when they see that you're not going to budge on it, they'll have to make a decision on their end.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just have to hold firm at that point in time. Because if you turn around and say, well, maybe 51, then they're going to smell blood in the water.
Right.
So then they're going to sniff you out as being full of shit. So you really want the car, and you're willing to pay 55 for it. So they're going to hold your feet to that fire. So, I don't know. I'm not very good at it, man. I've studied it. I've taught it so many times in my classes. I've seen students who are just naturally good at it.
Oh, my mother is she's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, anybody who grew up in like a situation where they were wanting for stuff, they are fucking phenomenal at it.
Well, you understand
So-
that my mother, she comes from a peasant culture.
It's forced by communism. Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes I think when I negotiate, I just like even my salary for my job, they were like, "We'll pay you this," and I was like, "Okay."
Right.
So I
Right.
knew I was accepting lower, but I wasn't going to sit there and hem and haw. I just wanted the fucking job. So
Right.
it was like,
Right.
no, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and beat you guys up about this stuff. It's not really my place to do so. And quite honestly, I'm probably not the best candidate, but if I'm the cheap date around here who's willing to do it, I'll take it.
Right.
So
Right.
but then there's other instances where like I can feel myself getting into that point where I'm like negotiating with myself. And so this happened last summer when I was trying to get a new front door.
We just talked about. Yeah.
They are
yeah.
fucking shockingly expensive.
expensive,
Yeah. So, and I mean, I was like, the guy had the iPad and everything that's got all the options.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was like, I want to build a nice one. We're going to spend like, $3,000 on this. It gives you a steel slammer, man.
There's something to that definitely communicates who you are if that's what you want. When we talked about the brutalist monkey bars,
That's a
having
brutalist front
steel
door. Yeah.
slammer makes a statement in the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, that's what it gets you. But I had picked out this one. I was like, no, we want plank wood, and we want an inlaid window in it and stuff, and all this stuff. And he's like, that'll be $7,800. And I'm like, for a door?
Was this person at your home?
Yeah. They came out to my house, and these were the guys who did such a great job on my windows.
Oh, right.
I was like,
right.
yeah, I'll definitely kick you guys some more business, But then he's sitting there looking at it, and he's just tapping it in this thing. And I'm like, man. And he's like, well, I can apply you the return customer discount. And I was like, great. And he's like, and then I started trying to do that thing where he like knocked like $500-600 off of it. And I was like, okay, what can we get for $5,000? He's like, not this. So it was like so matter of fact that it was like, oh, you guys aren't making much margin on this. Got it. So, and he's like, yeah, because, we have to order all this shit custom. And so the custom factory gets all the fucking money out of this. He said, the only thing that we're going to get out of you on this is labor. Okay. And quite honestly, whether the door is super fancy or a steel slammer, it's the same amount of labor. And so he didn't care about any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And so once I figured that out, I was like, oh, this is going to be expensive. Maybe I'll save up another year,
Right, or-
and get the one that I actually want, since, these guys aren't trying to jack with me. So I was like, okay. So,
Or you think it over and you say, I'm going to come to peace with the door that we have. Does it still open? Still closed? Does it still keep animals out?
it keeps animals out. It
you
doesn't
go.
necessarily keep the cold out. So,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, and mine's like front and center in my living room.
Are we running?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
You gonna introduce what we're doing?
What time are we at?
I don't know. Are we trying to set a record here?
No, we're at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So I think our record's like over 14 or 15 minutes now.
Patrick,
I'm Pat.
introduce the show.
I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
This is Coffee Before Bed,
It sure is.
the podcast that starts later with every subsequent episode. So, oh yeah, and I pointed that out a couple weeks ago that we shouldn't do that, but
So we need to be professionals. We need to hold ourselves to standards. I think you wrote a nasty email about accountability.
oh yeah,
and
that sounds exactly like
Yeah.
me. Yeah, that's my favorite business buzzword: accountability,
is it still popular?
results-oriented accountability.
What are the current popular? Because
Accountability
accountability
is still
was
a big one.
huge 10 years ago.
It's still out there.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's like my least favorite word, you know,
What does
in
it
all
mean?
of the business. Yeah, exactly. What
does
does
it
it mean? So it basically means that I get to bitch at you if you don't do your shit on time. I'm going to hold you accountable, you know?
You could before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know,
Is a big part of the buzzword? Is it still taking ownership?
yeah, I've seen that one too.
I'm going to take ownership of this.
Right. Yeah. Areas of response, or that's, yeah. There's a new one out there that has to do with like, yeah, it's like areas of responsibility or something. I can't remember, man. I don't keep up on the business lit as much as I should. I keep up on some of the management shit,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
just like within my own like little area, you know,
Right.
which like basically has to do with like jobs and what makes a job suck.
Fascinating question.
I love it, man. So yeah, and you know there are so many ways in which you can make a job suck that there's like I don't know, there's like less ways to make a job not suck than there are to make it ways to make it suck. So, but then like there's the whole like you know the management guru complex and fucking the Tony Robbins of the world, you know, teach you, oh, anybody can be a leader, blah blah blah.
Can they?
Stuff. I don't think so, man. And the more that I study it, I just don't think, yeah. So I think there's some people who just they're not gonna fit the mold. So, you know.
Is leadership unquantifiable in that regard? Is it?
It is
something?
really difficult to quantify.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not like a leadership trait that you roll up on your D&D sheet, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and some people just plain fucking suck at it. You know, they're just rotten human beings who shouldn't be in charge of other people. But they're really good individual contributors.
Right.
And so of course if you're the best salesperson, eventually they put you in charge of salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and then, you know, you fucking suck at it because you don't have the skills for it. You treat people like shit. So you beat them up so that they can get the same results. You step all over them because you can do the job better than they can. So,
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. It's just horrible, you know? And so, yeah. I mean, I see that happen so many times. So I have students who've graduated and now like ping me on that social media site for professionals out there. And they're like, Pat, I've got this problem on the job. It's exactly what you described, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, your boss is a dick and you should find a new job. I know that's not what you want to hear, but you ain't going to be able to change your boss. I mean, unless you're going to, like, you know, start being do the Jeff thing and become the leader of the resistance.
Jesus Christ, man. I had to have that discussion. I've had to have that discussion a couple of times with different people, with different students.
Already?
Yeah, some of the older ones, and it's. I feel like I'm telling stories from Vietnam, where I'm just like, I keep coming to this like, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown moment, where I keep being like, look, I kept trying to change this over and over. They came to me, they begged me, they said, oh, great, Jeffrey. Lead us out of this misery, and I'm like, yes, no problem.
Yeah,
all right, I don't want to do this, but I had leadership
resist
thrust
all.
on me.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing is when we're all storming the castle, I look behind me and there's nothing but dust and crickets. It's like,
Where did everybody go?
yeah, where did
Yeah.
everybody else is like, well, you know, man, like I got kids.
Yeah. It's like, well, I didn't, you know, I can't lose my job right now. I got to get another one lined up first. So
Just this week a couple of times I've had to tell that story of you can't fight this fight. You have to, it's like your best bet is, do you hate it? Like, if you do hate it, then go.
Then quit.
Just go.
Yeah, just go.
Just go.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll work out.
Either that
So-
or redefine why you're going there.
Oh, a lot of guys do that. Yeah.
And I made the argument of, look, sometimes, just from my own personal experience, like, there is no, I've done the things that I want to do. There is no absolute dream job. It comes to a point where, at least for me, no matter what it is, it still becomes work. And
Sure.
so then, if you have to be there, then think about the reasons that you are there. It's not because, well, if you're not going to change the system and you don't want to learn any skills there, but you have to be there, then change the reason why you're there. Okay, so what do you get to do there that you enjoy? Well, I like putting in my headphones and listening to podcasts. Great. So you're going to work to listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You are also going to wash some dishes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole thing was, well, my coworkers keep wanting to talk to me. He's like, do you want to talk to them? It's like, no.
Then don't.
Like,
yeah.
do they already think that you're stuck up because you don't want to talk to them? Yes. So how's this going to change things? Just be stuck up.
Yeah. Just own it.
They already think you are.
Yeah, just wear it.
Right?
So
That's when I started taking fancy coffee and tea to the rig site. You already think I'm a dandy, right?
yeah.
As I roll up to the oil field in a Prius, yes, you already think.
Forgot about that. yeah.
Christ, it's like you already think that I'm a soft city slicker, so
Right.
I might as well, turn on the classical music and
And watch art films. You know? It's like, shh, this is a silent film.
you try to break it down, and it's like, look, guys, it's not that I think that I'm better than you. It's just that I just am. So
So you just own it. Just wear it like a glove. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I
I
wouldn't
would
dare
say the
say
last
that,
several
no.
jobs that I've had,
wouldn't dare
I
say
kind of
that.
got to the same point where it's just like, now this is the guy that I'm at. This is why I'm here. Okay, like even at Frontier when I worked there, I mean, there was nothing I liked about the company. My boss was an idiot. Fortunately, I didn't have to mess with him that much because he was there. Well, he was
he was
actually
days, right?
Well, he was dazed, but he was also his office was way over in corporate. Yeah. So I mean,
right.
but he would come over and pester people. So,
Oh, he's one of those.
Oh yeah,
guys.
he was an intruder. But it was just like, all right, I'm going here because I like driving forklifts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Forklifts are fucking cool.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of my own boss on this shift, which is pretty fucking cool too. The guys that I work with are pretty sweet. All right. And so we get, and the crew that I had was really good because we'd get in there and we'd bitch at the previous shift about the fact that they didn't get anything done.
Of course.
Okay, and then I turn to the guys that I had on my shift and be like, all right, guys, let's just knock this shit out.
Right.
So and we would knock it out in like 3 hours and then just fuck around the rest of the
Fuck
night.
around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
so 5 o'clock would roll around. The day shift comes in at 5:30. We'd be like, all right, guys, look busy.
Go ahead and start your cap.
Yeah, start cleanup. Start cleanup. Get the brooms out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? The Combat Air Patrol, where you're.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Start orbiting. Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, that's. I think I siphoned that bit of wisdom out of my brother just by the way he described his work. It's like, what do you do? He's like, I watch television. I collect paychecks. And he was speaking honestly because that's what he wanted to do.
Right.
Right? He never talked about the work being rewarding. He never gave a fuck. It's just like, what do you do? I watch TV.
I watch TV. Yeah.
Yeah. I come home.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it.
And, I guess from that standpoint, and what I'm like currently doing with the deluge of students that I have, I think I like yelling at kids.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Probably good at it.
well, yeah. I like, number one, cutting through their bullshit, right? Where, I don't mean this in a harsh or negative way, but there's a version of why people are struggling that they tell you, or the interpretation that other people give you. But then when you get down to the to the subject themselves, and you get to have that discussion. It's like, I've spoken to you at length. You understand the homework.
Right.
So tell me no lies.
Yeah, you just don't want to do it.
You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, so we need to do... I'm not going to make you love this. You never will. So what we're going to do is we're going to make your folks happy because they're paying me. So here's how it works. Tell me 5 other things you'd rather be doing right now than this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. There's your list.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure that's the easiest question they've ever answered.
It's
in a
like,
tutoring
right,
session.
right.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you teacher tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You meet these guidelines for me, and I'm going to teach you how to do them quickly. The quicker you can get to screwing around on your phone.
Yeah.
And your parents will be happy, and they won't bother you for screwing around on your phone because your grades are
Because
fine.
your work is done.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, can we approach this without the bullshit? Great.
Yeah.
I love approaching that one with, are your parents out of the room?
Yeah, I
like
guess, yeah, most of your students are probably under 18, so you have to do that. So-
Well, it's just like, I'm not going to have this discussion in front of your parents.
No.
Right? I want you to tell me the story that I should know versus the line of crap that you're feeding your parents. Because I have fed my parents a line of crap.
Yeah, I guess I was probably there about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Especially when I first started teaching university. It's been longer than that. Because
Yeah.
I taught at that other school up there for a little while before then.
Oh, right. Yeah.
God, I don't miss those guys. They're the neediest students that I ever had in my life. So,
You're talking about Lawsuit University?
yeah, I guess.
The ones that have been sued into the ground for...
No,
deceptive.
I'm talking about the one up on the hill there that you and I are both familiar with.
Oh, the ones...
Yeah,
Who's...
the ones who didn't get into Fort Collins and Boulder and mines.
No, the ones that right now have rose-scented farts.
They have rose-scented farts up there now?
If I recall correctly.
Oh, yeah,
If
they kind of do.
I
Yeah.
recall, they kind of believe their own hype.
I don't know, man. It's been a while since I had a class up there. So, maybe. It was trending in that direction. It was definitely trending in that direction.
When I last took classes there, yes.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's definitely worse since you were last there. So, but... So, like, yeah, when I was teaching there, I kind of liked having some of those, like, straight up, like, let me straighten you out kind of thing, kid. I don't even fucking bother with it anymore. So, like, I mean, I look my students straight in the eye, and, like, today or yesterday I had a kid contact me. He actually phoned me. That's twice this semester. That's fucking weird. So,
Change your number.
no, I don't care.
Right.
So it's fine by me. It's just usually they don't do that. And I mean, so there's a quiz that was due and he's all struggling with it and stuff. And so, but this is a math class. And so I can get in there and look at all his homework and shit.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't done a fucking lick of homework.
There you go.
Okay. And that's what I told him. I was like, dude, okay, so I can sit here and explain this stuff till I'm blue in the face. You're not going to get it because you haven't done any of the homework. All right. So go do the homework and then come back. All right. I'll help you. All right. Well, what happens if I don't do the homework? It's like, you're not going to pass the test. So no matter what questions you ask me, because I can't give you the answer to that question. I can give you the answer how you do it, but then you've got exactly one chance to practice it and you're going to fail it. So,
Right.
yeah. And so it was like, I'm not even going to lecture him on this. I was just like, okay, this is what you need to do. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. Any
Right.
questions?
Yeah.
And so, like, because I used to do that, hey, what's really going on kind of thing. And now I don't give a fuck because it's just literally gotten to the point in time where, like, I almost find it, and I have colleagues who do that, and I almost find it like, when I see them kind of do it, it's almost like really disrespectful to some of the students. It's like, you are 22, you're in your third year of college, you know the score, you're gonna graduate, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to bullshit me, okay, which is just as offensive in my opinion.
Right.
Okay, but I'm not going to flip that bullshit back at you and bullshit you. Oh, you're a good kid, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. So, and it's like, no, you need to do this by Friday. Okay, so I do it by Friday. Cool, sweet. See you Monday. Kind of thing. So, and I do the same thing in my lectures now. I mean, I got like on my YouTube channel there. I got like lectures on every little problem how to do in my shit. And I at first it was like, oh, let's explain this entire theory and blah blah. And now I'm like, no, click this, do this, subtract this, you get your answer. Questions down there. Have at it, guys. so, so literally TikTok lessons now, man.
Kind of. And so here's the positive side of this is I do have people, and this is enjoyable, where you do have people that do want to discuss the deeper intricacies.
Absolutely.
Of it. So if like you talked about, you have people that they attended the lectures, they did the homework, and then they come to you and they say, well, I was thinking about a specific example, and I was wondering if you could, talk this out with me. It's like, yes.
Pull up a chair.
Yeah.
Pull up a chair.
Yeah.
See, that's why I treat the rest of the students like that, so I have time to deal with those
exactly.
guys. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
it's like...
And more often than not, the people that I deal with on that level are my grads when they come back.
I can totally
So
understand
they'll
that,
ping
yes.
me 2-3 years down the road. They'll be like, hey, this is what's going on at work. I remember you talking about this. Can we talk about it? I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely. So you don't even pay me anymore, all right? But I will spend my time with you because now you and I can talk on the level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me tell you what. Let me, if you don't mind, I'm gonna jerk off a little bit. Are you okay with that? And they're like, I've been waiting for this.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm prepared to do this myself.
Prepared to do this.
Right.
You know how many of the sonnets I've read?
Exactly.
All of them.
Yeah. Which one do you want to talk about? You don't just tell me the number, right?
Right.
Yeah, we can do this, right? And I have some folks that have backgrounds in. This is one of the more interesting ones. This is one of the more fun ones. Is currently doing work that she doesn't want to, simply because she doesn't feel confident with the English language, right? Even though she has years of experience doing this in another country. So there's a part where, oh, well, yes, we can talk education. We can talk psychology. We can talk all this stuff because I'm going to listen. You just don't feel comfortable talking about this in front of a person that could potentially hire or fire you.
Sure.
Right? And I guess that was the fun part of it was like, yes, we're going to wax about this and we're going to talk. I'm going to ask you tons of questions that you haven't talked about in 6 years.
Sure, yeah.
Right? And then the turnaround is, so why was I able to get this much out of you? Right? Why was I able to do that when everything that you said here is fascinating, interesting, shows your level of intelligence, shows your depth of practice, has examples, but you just wouldn't talk about this because somebody would hire you? They're nobody. They're just you in a different position.
Yeah.
Right?
With a different background.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Talk to them the same way you talk to me, you'll get the job.
Yeah. Where was the student from? I'm curious.
It was from Israel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, really? Okay. I guess I haven't dealt with too many Israeli students. I dealt with a couple at that school up there.
As you would.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, it was kind of funny because I had a lot of Saudis at the same time too.
Oh,
yeah,
delightful.
Oh man, that was weird, dude. There was one class that I had up there. I had a batch of them, and they were all like, not princes, but maybe like lords. I don't know. So you vassals. Yeah, I don't know, but they're you can tell that they were like 100% funded by the Saudi government.
Ah, yeah.
So they had their wives there who were also attending school.
Were they wearing ninja masks?
They were wearing ninja masks.
Delightful.
In fact, the full Cobra Commander costumes. Yeah.
And not the COVID issued ninja masks.
Not the COVID issue ones, the pre-COVID ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about the League of Assassins.
The League of Assassin ones, yeah. So, and it was really interesting. In fact, some of my colleagues had a real problem with this because this was a new crop of students. And it was one of those things where if you asked a female student the question, the male student would answer it. So, and I mean,
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
I knew that was going to happen, but they were like shocked, you know, in a faculty meeting that we had up there, which of course prompted a round of email wars, which.
Which one? Which,
Dude, it's like every time some kind of issue comes up, it's like the entire faculty busts out into a game of Halo, and they just red team.
I was gonna say, like, which great war of the Silmarillion was this?
No, it was like the 37th of that year of the year. You know? So yeah, my current university, they don't do that at all. I mean, there was a little bit during COVID, so there was a little back and forth here during COVID.
Yeah.
There actually was a little sparking, a little mini game of Halo going on.
Sure.
Like last week over funding. So funding is going to be a fucking issue.
Okay.
Over the next few years.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So, you know, somebody the other day decided to, you know, snipe somebody, which prompted a little exchange of gunfire.
Sure.
You know, not too bad.
What did Morgoth do now?
No, not near that bad.
Okay.
So this is like basically a large orc, you know. It just happened to wander into town, but whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole thing with the male student responding was kind of interesting. But I've never had I think I've had two, but it was a long time ago, and they were both like in that field. And they didn't seem too out of place. They spoke perfect English.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and they were fully like committed to emigrating, so it's the United States. Oh, actually, you know what? There were a couple in my master's program. That makes sense. They were probably becoming accountants. In fact, I know one of them was. So, yeah.
I know. And
yeah, he was actually really cool.
Well, and this is the funny thing is I know that you're going into a meaningful profession that will have plenty of work for you, and there's a part of you that is like, good for you, man, right?
Oh, yeah.
I have nothing to respect that, but you're also kind of waiting for the surprise. You're waiting like, okay, well, this is my name. I'm like, all right, and what is it that you want to do? It's like professional boxing.
Oh, I've heard crazy, outlandish stories from my students over the years. So I had a girl like 5-6 years ago, and I asked her just straight up, you know, I was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? She said, coaching the New Orleans Saints. And I was like, that is a really gutsy answer.
Incredibly specific.
And that's what I started finding is like, that's really specific. And so this was a career planning kind of day. Whereas like, okay, envision a day in your future 5 years from now. What does it look like? You know, and then it's like deconstructing that. How do you get there? All right. What are the possible paths to get there?
Right.
So, yeah. And so that one came off the rails pretty fast.
Well, it's funny, too, because the first question you have to ask yourself is, what is the prediction you have here that has the Saints in need of a coach at that time? Like,
Right.
Doesn't this sort of depend on how they're doing? What if they're not hiring coaches right now?
Well, yeah, no, you're poking at the issue there because like when you set something that specific like
Yes.
that, there's a shitload of conditionals around it. When like I say, what do you see you doing? It's like, well, I see myself being an accountant, a CPA. You know, it's like, okay, there's a million paths towards that.
Sure.
We can find one that works for
Right.
you. You know, so but like that job.
It's like, are you prepared to assassinate all competition in line for the job, including the one that's currently holding it?
Right? Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
They went 12-4, so.
Yeah, well, no, this was like a couple of years ago when they had a really good season. So
Oh, that's right. These would have
This
been
was
the
several
Drew
years
Brees years.
ago,
Yeah,
actually.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they were Drew Brees years.
I mean, you know, the funny thing too, of course, is to broaden it too and say, all right, well, theoretically, the argument would be, well, how about seeing yourself as a just a professional coach first? But then you turn around and say, well, there's only 32 of those.
Right, you might as well pick one. Yeah. I don't know, man. So it was just one of these things where I could tell that I don't know. I like to bag on the guy, but you know, she had fallen for that Tony Robbins thing where it's like set a goal for yourself. Or,
That's
you know, kind of. And I mean, like, God dang, man, I see that jack so many people up. You know, same thing. I mean, I've done all this entrepreneur's bullshit over the years where it's like, oh yeah, follow your dreams and turn your job into a dream. You turn your dream into a job, and then I'm with you on that one where it's like that turns your hobbies into jobs.
Right. Right.
That's a terrible idea because then you got to go find new hobbies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, see it, be it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
well versed with this kind of stuff. Well, on top of that too is this is again, this is something that I've had to talk to, especially with non-English speakers. And I know this is sort of like a heartbreak because there are a lot of people that, okay, well, why are you here, right? And then they have specific goals. I want to get into this, and like the question I have to ask is okay, so let's suppose that you spend an entire lifetime trying to break into this industry but never make it. Are you still satisfied? I was like, and that's fine, because if what you're interested in is the pursuit, right, then it's completely noble. It's okay. It never matters what the results are.
Right.
Okay.
The journey.
You kept trying, and if you're okay with having tried the whole time, right, that's great, because there are people that'll swing and go yard on their first attempt.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and they're not happy with it. It's the same thing in reverse, right?
Yeah.
So don't use that as your gauge unless you're totally happy with that. If you're okay never making it, that's totally fine.
Yeah, but see, I think that most people, when they say that, they don't actually mean that. You know.
No, well,
and so that's to go back to the example that I think if she didn't make it, you know, it wouldn't be the chase. It would be the fact, oh, I failed, you know, because I didn't get the ring.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know, kind of thing, or I didn't get the crown, so to speak. And I don't know. I see that. I mean, so now my students are proportionally younger than they used to be. Especially when I was teaching. Yeah, well, when I was teaching at the community college, it was much older.
Sure.
You know,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I suppose.
And so I would find a lot of people there that were very much that mentality. So it was like, well, I just got to move forward, you know? So, and it was like, you know, it's not like I have a question of whether or not I'm going to make it. The question is whether or not I'm going to try.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's a much more mature way of actually looking at things, you know? But I think some of that just comes with like taking your knocks too. And so I certainly saw plenty of students there that had taken their knocks. So
Well, it's okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is part taking your knocks, but also the other piece of it is the moment that you realize that when you're hanging your identity on a destination that you're trying to get to, you immediately stop caring about where you are right now.
oh, that's true.
And you have failure to enjoy the moment. Right?
Yeah, that's very true.
And this is
Yeah.
this just all like fear of missing out. It's the whole thing of, well, so we're eating at KFC today. Okay, great. Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's good.
I know that you wanted to go to the Olive Garden, but they're closed. So we can't get there. Or,
Yeah.
guys, it's just snowing that much, so we're eating chicken.
Yeah.
Enjoy the chicken. Don't sit here and bitch about. I mean, this is like, I don't know.
What is it? So I heard something about that once at one point in time. It's like the root of all anxiety is the unknown, the future. And the root of all anger is anchored in the past. I can't remember who fucking said that, but it's really good.
You know, the problem I have
It's
with
anchored
that,
in regret. There we go.
yeah, the problem I
Yeah.
have with that is like you get a quote like that and it's fantastic, then you look it up, it's Hitler. It's always Hitler.
Joseph Stalin, Jesus.
It's like Mengele? Why would
Mengele?
anyone writing down what he said?
Did he publish?
Oh my god!
Ugh.
What's funny too is the funny thing is when you break it down, if you go to the rules of logic, technically you're not supposed to worry about who said it as long as it's a good idea.
That's true.
The first argument is always who said it. It's like, well, Goebbels.
Goebbels,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly. It's like, oh,
Okay, now what did he say it about? Was he talking about...
Jews. Shit.
Well, if he was talking about the lack of good plumbing in this area, that's fine.
Ah,
But
yeah,
if he's
yeah.
talking about...
Film criticism. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know who said that, but that is good advice.
yeah. I don't think it was Joseph Stalin or Adolf Hitler. So, yeah. I don't think I don't think that would come out of Mao's mouth either. It's not like stupid enough.
Oh no,
So,
it has
yeah.
to be For now, it has to be something that is so ridiculously obvious that you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It kind of like the same. I told you about this. This is the time I tried to drown myself in the shower. Why didn't anybody think about this? It's like, oh, because this is how you drown yourself. This is
Right. Right, yeah, that's why they didn't write it down.
That's
If
right.
anybody was successful, they could not tell you how that was done.
That's right. Because, yeah, that's right. You were the one who came up with it. It's like, Jeff, you're waterboarding yourself when you're trying to clean out your sinuses.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't think about that. I'm so stupid.
I still waterboard myself almost daily, man.
Yeah, but you have a tool for it. There's
Yeah.
a
Oh,
way
you were
to
just
do
doing it with your face?
Yeah, turn it up like that. Yeah.
That's right. You're waterboarding yourself.
You're the one who said it. It's like, that Pat, man, he's wise beyond his years. But you were like, no, Jeffrey, you're just that stupid.
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't. You didn't have
You
to.
just insinuated that.
No, it was true though.
Well, true or not. So, if the whale lands on the harpoon, I didn't throw it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. And I guess that's the perspective I've really taken is I'm not trying to be just like the eternal optimist or anything like that, but it's just there is way too much positive stuff in the moment for me to just keep hanging my hat on. Well, I'm not here. I'm not here. I'm not here. This is just like every step of the ladder that I've climbed or taken or moved, right? If I focused on that too much, it was always a detriment to how I was approaching it. And maybe for some people, they do get supercharged out of treating everything as a competition. But those are people whose, whether or not they're correct, they are personalities which are so contradictory to my own that I don't think I could spend more than an hour and a half in a room with them at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I come into an inordinate amount of contact with individuals like that.
Do you?
Well, yeah, that's the nature of teaching. So,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
you know,
That's true.
especially where I'm at and the level that I'm at more so than anything else. I mean, you don't get to take a class at, like, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, but you have to know how to work in order to get there and set goals for yourself to make it to your junior level or your senior level or graduate school. You know, and so I deal with a lot of people who are very, very driven. You know, and I mean, a lot of that is just that anxiety. They don't have things kind of sorted out. They haven't experienced the things that make you appreciate that rung on the ladder. So, like, where, like, I mean, it used to be, like, I was always thinking, like, ahead, like, what's coming up tomorrow.
We've walked this destination, this journey together, yeah.
Totally walked that, you know, and not just, like, unemployment days and things like that, but always, like, okay, what's the next move? What's the next plan? All right, how do I start working on this kind of thing?
How are people my age doing?
Exactly, comparing myself to Tom Brady. So he's the same age, you know, it's like, fuck, you know, all right, so, you know, what am I doing wrong? It's just, you know, and... But whatever, you know, regardless of all that, I mean, it was only after, like, certain things happened in my life where I was kind of like, you know what, you should just enjoy right now because you've got it pretty fucking good right now, okay? You know, things are pretty cool, you know, people around you are in good health for a change, you know, and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, just be cool, just enjoy this,
Right.
all right? So you don't have to rush and fill up your schedule with all this shit and stuff, you know? I think my wife is slowly getting there on some of that too, because she's had nothing but rush for a while, and you know I've watched her proudly the last like maybe I don't know maybe like 2-3 months kind of stab back at her job a little bit. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, just turn the knife a little bit next time, see how they respond, they'll be okay. You know, that's you're worth more than you think you are, you know, kind of thing.
You know, and that goes back to negotiation, the rules of negotiation. Know your own worth.
Know your own worth,
yeah.
Know your own bottom line.
Yeah.
So, like, I look at my salary and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably worth a little bit more than that, but only going down here 1 or 2 days a week is worth like 20 grand. easily. So, and I was like, okay, so this is a much higher paying job. Maybe not on maybe not on paper, but the fact that I just literally fuck around the other 3 or 4 days a week is great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was always of that. I'd rather work my ass off 1 or 2 days a week and then have an extra day off. So I was always a 410s guy.
You always were.
Yeah. I always loved that shit. So yeah.
I mean, I guess I eventually had you beat technically when Will and I were working 713s.
713s, yeah. Well, hey man, when I worked on the railroad, I was 12 twos, 12 days on, 2 days off, 12 hours a day. So I know it's balls.
I know you're aware of it. And at that point, it had nothing to do with the work. It just had everything to do with being dislocated from your base of operations.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
That was the job.
Command bridge was empty.
Exactly. Like how many tours can you do before refueling? And that's the test.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And cashing checks too, man. I remember that. So I get my paychecks on the railroad, and I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, I can do another one."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then I get that one, I'd be like, "Yeah, I can do another one."
It was that. Well, I didn't settle in. I wasn't like totally happy doing that until I did 2 things. I was like, man, in order for me to keep doing this, I need antidepressants and I need to bring my dog.
Oh well, I mean, you bring your dog, you just decide to fucking do it. So
That was the other part of it was, I guess I was just renegotiating. I was like, I guess I took kind of a different approach of then do something about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm prepared to find solutions for this, but until you make me do something about it, I'm going to presume it's okay.
Well, and everybody fell in love with your dog, so...
Yeah, well, she's a butthead, but she's, like, really well-meaning.
Yeah.
And, frankly, that was better for her personality, too. Sure. She was like, I like traveling with this dog.
Boarding her was bad, so...
Well, it wasn't just boarding. When she was with other people and they were staying here, she was happy.
Yeah,
but
okay.
At the same time, she... Over the past few years with her, I've started to realize that our features have glommed into each other so exclusively that I recognize that we're not actually separate beings. She's actually just a little chunk of my own soul that scutters off on 4 legs sometimes and then reattaches at night to gather heat. So I'm like, I'm totally okay with that. Our personalities have completely meshed, right? But at the time there, when we had certain, frictions of, well, you liberated me from Doggy Auschwitz, but you abandoned me for 2 to 4 weeks at a time.
2 to 4 weeks, yeah.
I'm not in love with that, and I'm going to take it out on your curtains. So,
yeah.
Again,
I'm not going to stay in that cage either.
No.
Yeah.
So, when I come over here and I'm like, man, she destroyed some shit. She must hate me. It's like, no.
No, she's just frustrated.
Yeah, of course she's frustrated. That's why I haven't, thumped her.
Well, yeah, I don't think she'd react well to that, so...
Well, she doesn't love it. Right. I mean, you've seen me thump her.
I've seen you thump her,
bop,
yeah.
Right? But, that's the closest thing to an ass whooping she caught for me, so... But yeah, once I did that, I was like, all right, well, now that I've redefined work on my terms...
Now that's not even an issue. So
yeah, I never leave.
Right. Yeah. So no, it's a good model, man. So I'm convinced that if I do change careers, my career will be no further away than my keyboard. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I have heard that that's the new breakdown between the working classes. No.
Yeah.
This is what they call it.
Yeah.
You have the working class, and then the other group is called the laptop class.
The laptop class, yeah. Yeah, there's been a couple people that I've been listening to lately that have very interesting ideas on that.
Tell me.
So, the traditional breakdown between the capitalist class and the working class basically is, what do you sell? Do you sell your assets? In order, do you use assets in order to generate income, or do you use labor in order to
Right,
generate income?
right.
And I don't think, and so there's a couple of guys in particular. One of them in particular is really clever. Who's like, there is not that he's like, that's not going to be a thing. All right, for too much longer. All right, where you're going to be part capitalist and you're going to be part labor. Okay, and he's like, any of you homeowners out there, you already fucking know this. So, and you've been seeing this happen. Okay, yeah. So, where your net worth is growing way faster than your labor out there. And this is why they're like, and this is kind of like a death spiral for folks who are actually trying to get a house right now. Okay, because the more people who chase that around, the harder it becomes to get. So, and particularly like certain communities like this one, like Colorado is still like one of the top 5 states in terms of real estate growth.
Oh yeah, that 80916 is the
Right.
fastest zip code in the United States.
Yeah. In terms of appreciation, yeah. So I'm not surprised, man, just because and then I mean, if you look at it, even the market that we've got here, it's got a ways to go before it even remotely tops out. Cherry Creek's still fucking growing. So,
Oh, that's true.
yeah, they got $1 million homes up there, no problem now. So that's a mediocre house in that area. So, you got a long ways to go, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta see the fucking monsters they're building over by my house over there now, man. So
I see them all the time.
yeah, they're filling that entire area. You remember all those fields were and shit? So not anymore.
Dude, that's
so
same thing that's happened to that park. It's the
Oh, yeah,
it's the
exactly.
same thing that's happening over here.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, behind that shopping center. So yeah, so and they're gonna put fucking $450,000 houses back there. So
Well, houses, and they are building shops over there too. So,
well, at least they're not building apartments. So
well, I guess I'd be okay with that, but
yeah,
But to be honest with you, Patrick, that's only the city skylines part of my brain that says,
right.
that's,
Yeah, density goes towards city core. Yeah.
do you want to buy the Colossal Order building or not?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there is that.
I want the airport.
So just as a side note, evidently that is the most worthless add-on.
Oh, the airport one?
It sucks.
Really?
It is.
It actually looked kind of cool. But
I thought so too. So
Did
I
you
was
check it
like,
out?
Yeah, well, I didn't buy it.
Oh.
So this was actually one of the things where, of all the things for me to stop and say, boy, I really better think about this $8.99 expansion, right?
It's only $9.
It's something like that. It's not that
No.
expensive, but
So what makes it shitty?
well, what makes it shitty is if what you're trying to do, okay, there's no version of this where the airport that you build will be any more efficient or worthwhile than the airports you plop. And on top of that, what happens here is the only thing you can do is you can make it bigger, right? But not more efficient. And there's no concrete fill command. So all you do is you just make some taxiways and that's it. It's just...
Oh, then you throw down like a terminal and...
Right. So you can custom build the terminal, right? But the design on it does not resemble an airport. You cannot use it to make an actual airport. So if you went ahead and looked at that overhead view of St. Louis and wanted to duplicate it, I don't know why.
Lambert?
Yeah, tell me a better airport. Tell me a better airport to build.
Longview.
Right? You can't do it. You just can't do it. And it takes up space, and it runs on the exact same model as building a park, where it's like, plop this down, wait for it to go to another store. Now you can plop down this.
Yeah.
So
ever since that park expansion a long time ago, that's how they kind of ran everything. I mean, I like the parks one. I like building the amusement park. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The last one that I got was the harbor.
The harbor one's kind of cool too.
It is kind of cool, but it really disappointed me because I thought we could actually build like a port, so you could actually have like container ship docks and actually arrange all that shit the way that you wanted it. Nope. It's like you get your two ploppable ones and then here's a whole bunch of fishing wharves. And it was like, but if you look at like Google Earth and go to Long Beach, this port is like an integral part, and it's all fits the terrain and shit. And it's like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, can I put channel markers down so I can change where the boats go? No, you can't do that either.
Right.
It was like, oh, I get this little whirly thing that cleans up the fucking shit in the water. That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
No, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take these things and use it to create the narrative of the city.
yeah, sure.
Right? And so you're trying to create individual things like, well, this is a port town.
Yeah, these are the docks.
Right.
Yeah.
These are the docks.
Yeah.
I don't want ploppable prostitutes. I don't want, I want this to develop naturally because this is a necessary part of the world. But you can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Skylines 2, if it ever happens.
Well, supposedly, this is the big hullabaloo about this. Is the reason they say that. So supposedly, the airport DLC is the last, and the reason that it came out so half-handedly was because they had to just pull a couple of guys off of 2 to crap out some.
Just go make
some
some
DLC.
airports.
And
Okay.
here's the thing. That game has garnered such goodwill with me that I would never look at this and say, you guys.
I'm fucking done. Flip it over. Yeah.
Like, I never thought I'd say the word betrayal, but I've been betrayed. You guys stomped on my heart here. No, it's like, fine, if you guys need to raise a little bit of bullshit capital to make this work for RTX 3090 cards or whatever, fine. Good for you.
Yeah, go for it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
When this comes out, I'm still going to mark off all the time. Like, nobody's going to get taught that week, and I ain't going to type shit.
No.
It's like, sorry guys, go learn on your own. And if you never come back, fuck you. I'm playing Skylines too.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Because, I mean, that like whole concept of having like zonable territories, that goes all the way back to SimCity 2. Remember, you could do that with airports where you just drew the airport and then it would populate with all the buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then I think it worked that way in SimCity 4 as well. No, I think those were actually ploppable.
Those were ploppable.
Yeah, you're right. But, the zonable ones are actually really interesting.
That's way more interesting of an idea.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's been around for fucking 20 years, So, well, the same thing. They had zonable landfill. So I can't believe Skylines has never had that. So, it's like you get this little backyard junkyard in order to accept all your shitty city's trash. And then there was an expansion later where you get like this monstrous incinerator.
Yes.
But you have to feed it from other collection centers. And it's like, just drive the dump truck to the fucking incinerator.
I know. And you have the recycling centers and you have all the other mini pollutants. But again, that's not what we were trying to do.
No.
It was always about the dump has to be a thing because people have to live near it.
Right.
And I understand that you took a perverse joy in messing with... See, okay...
If I had shitty neighborhoods, I would zone dump next to it. So, yeah.
There was something about the group of complainers and community advocates that would come to you, and your perverse joy in messing with their lives, where you looked at them in the face and say, like, I see your concerns. Right? I do. And, a thriving community needs exactly what you need.
Yeah.
I'll get right on that. And then you build dump next to their house.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I would do that. I think it was 2 was one that had the individual guys who represented groups, and then 3 had clickable Sims.
Yes.
And then SimCity 4, which was probably my favorite one, had the same, but it kind of combined the two. You had the little advisor guys, so who were in the Sims, like, this is your city planner with his floppy arms, kind of thing. But that game did like almost everything right, except for like the zonable airport and seaports.
Well, and still the roads didn't have dick on City Skylines.
Nothing's got nothing. Yeah, nothing's got that on Skylines. So, but like Skylines, the one problem that I have with it still fundamentally that's a difference from SimCity 4. And I mean, you and I have done enough cities where we try to emulate this in some ways, but there's no economic reason to actually have a slum in your town.
Nope.
So we're in SimCity 4. If your town had nothing but like fucking, top level residential. Nobody would fucking move in because
It's too expensive.
Yeah, it's way too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, man, you've created like not Vancouver, but like 6 blocks of Vancouver down here that only the richest in the world can actually afford to live in, and there's just not that many of them. And so you had to have these parts of towns that were like these huge, like 5,000 person tenement blocks. All right, that had like the elevated train. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was kind of interesting. And then
A lot
you
of
could
chalk outlines.
there's a lot of chalk outlines and stuff. And I mean, you would put them in like on the border between 2 cities, and so the fucking,
Right.
so you had to go click on the other city, and you'd be like, well, there's no cops over here because they all live over there.
Yeah.
So
And you're actually talking about real
forget
world
it, Jake.
problems.
It's Chinatown.
Yeah, you're talking about real world things where you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, no, you can't live in New Jersey and actually be a firefighter or a policeman here.
Yeah.
You have to live in the borough that you work in. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because you're right. So there is this sort of utopian dystopian thing within Skylines where it's like, well, you have to keep improving their lives to move them into these better places, right? Whereas the implication is if you don't have these kind of positions or good things available, education for these, what do you call the people in Skylines? Skylinians?
They're still
or
called
whatever.
Sims, but
Sims,
it's CIMS.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. The implication is that they move to Oakland or whatever. They're not here. Where it's just like,
They take the BART.
lot of human feces on that train.
Right, yeah.
But the whole thing is like, well, then this city isn't for you.
Right, yeah.
Right? We are going to take the people that are upper middle class
Right.
in Atlanta and turn them into upper crust here. You're moving here to be the best of the best. And if you're not,
Get out.
this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Right? But you're right. Because we are so narratively driven on the way that we're creating the cities. Because after we got over you and I both went through this phase, and I think it's natural in city builders to try to keep thinking away, I must solve these problems. My city must have no personality. All roads must be completely straight except for what is scientifically the most perfect turn.
Yeah, you
and
just
then,
focus on the ant races.
correct. And eventually when you get to that point where you figure it out, then you say, well, there must be problems in this neighborhood.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
But the game doesn't really allow you to narratively create problems. They are just problems.
No. So they did a little bit better with the zones and stuff where you could actually draw not the zones, but what are they called? That overlay.
Historic. Oh,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Where you can actually draw districts. That's what they're called. Districts in there. And you say, okay, so this is Old Town. Everything here is historically preserved and stuff. And, this is like the fucking hippie part of town where it's all 420 friendly.
And that
everybody's got
I absolutely love that. That's genius. The way that they did that was brilliant. I loved having areas where it's like, no pets.
No pets, yeah. Well, I liked changing the districts by like their commercial like settings too, because you could have your bar district.
You could,
yeah. I did that all the time.
Genius,
Yeah.
It's all.
Yeah, your tourist trap with all the fucking hotels in it.
Oh yeah, especially near the harbor. It's like, oh, you guys
Or
like
right
sand.
next to the airport. So, which I always put the convention center right there. So then when you drive up to DIA and you see it, it's like, oh, there's a convention center right there. I did that before you guys did.
Or before I could admit that I ripped it off from you.
Right, exactly.
No, I totally understand. And I wouldn't have it any other way because it's so genius. And there are parts of it too where, yes, you did get to imply some of the narrative of the city via those policies. So yeah, I always had the game when you started out without cheating or turning on unlimited simoleons or you do have to have that like factory district, and I always try to work around there where I say, no, this is where they make the Rice Krispies, even though it's smokestacks. I'm like, oh my God, they're making food, but
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, well, this has to stay. This is like,
Yeah.
it's politically necessary
Yep.
for the Rice Krispies factory
Yeah.
to be here.
This is where all the unions are, and they donate to my campaigns. So you make
Exactly.
up all these bullshit narratives.
Exactly.
But in SimCity 4, you actually had to have that shit in the game. Otherwise, you
Right.
get booted from office. People would be like, land prices are outrageous, And they'd be like, we are going to kill you off, and you're going to lose control of this game. And after you'd put like 100 years into it, you're like, no, 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 no. So you guys need some low-cost housing? No problem. Let's hook you up, So,
yeah. It's like, yeah, because in Skyline, it's like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Oakland is that way.
Oakland is over there,
Yeah.
yeah. Because you can't do anything about it. This is my city. You are my minions. I'm gonna bulldoze your house, fucker, and I'm not gonna pay you for it. Remember that in SimCity 4? If you bulldoze like in a really expensive building, it costs like $1 billion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, I need to move this fire station. Fuck. Or this is where my subway stop goes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And now the trade-off on that is that Skylines also encourages experimentation
It does.
way more
Oh yeah.
by the unrealistic eminent domain shit that you pull off here where, like, well, I don't give you the value of your land.
Or we put the airport on wheels and move
Exactly, yeah, yeah. Because the answer is always Oakland is that
it.
way.
Oakland is that way.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, I'll tear down your house.
Yeah.
Then you won't be able to live here.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even think homelessness is a problem in Skylines.
No, of course not.
Yeah, it was in the because it's made by Swedes. So
Of course.
yeah, of course, or
Yeah.
Danes or something.
Oh, whatever. It's a group
Yeah.
of people that's like erpy derpy, where it's
Definitely
like,
Erpy Derp.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I'd play the shit out of Skylines 2 if it came out. Well,
Of
we'll
course.
see. It'll come out.
Yeah, it's they have so much goodwill banked that unless they turned around and they came out there and revealed an ugly truth and they said like, well, we know you guys have been waiting on Skylines too. It's like, yes, we have been. I've set off all this time. It's like, well, we weren't actually working on a city builder. It's city builder, but also collectible card game. So you work on the city to build your deck,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And then you get to fight each other.
Like, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's like, I'm sorry.
It's like, I've never asked for a refund on anything, but
Yeah, I need all my Skylines
Yeah.
books back. So,
it's like, I want to buy all your stock and shutter you.
yeah. There was a game that came out not too long ago that I wanted to check out. It was like a Civ. It was supposedly quote unquote a Civ killer. It's like called Humanity or something like that.
The only thing that kills Civ is Civ.
Exactly, and that's what happened with this game. I saw like 2 or 3 guys play it, and 1 or 2 guys. So that British dude who does all the exploits, he figured that game out in like 5 fucking minutes. So
What was wrong with it?
everything. So yeah, he was like most exploitable game ever, kind of thing. Because he's just sitting there going through the stats. I even watched him do it a little bit on a live stream, and he's just like, "So wait a minute, this guy does this against these guys, and he's like, and they cost this much," and he's like, "So we can take over the entire world with 2 Viking ships." Kind of. It was like that bad. It was like that bad.
okay.
Yeah, and so then I watched a couple other guys play it, who were also in the city builder kind of thing, and they're just like, it's not fun, So
There you go.
and that was the knife in the heart right there. When someone says that about a game, it's just like, I got you. I've plowed full retail price into games that within playing them in 15 minutes, I'm like, this is not fun. So. And it's just like, okay, fine. I'm not going back to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, interesting enough, like Cyberpunk was almost there. I mean, all I had to do was like play it 10 more minutes, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, actually, this is fucking cool.
Right.
But that first, like, it was like, this actually ain't that much fun, man. So when you're trying to wander around and figure out what the fuck am I supposed to do, and it's like, why does everything absolutely murder me You know, I'm trying to have a fist fight with this guy on the roof, and he's knocked my head off like 4 times. Okay, I'm like, I don't get it. You know.
Yeah, I
So
set it down and I came back like a week and a half later
yeah,
just because I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't like what I was doing at
right.
first.
Yeah.
And the gameplay loop wasn't fun. Dude, it's like you said yourself. For how many hours you put into Fallout 4 when you're sitting there getting ganked by roaches in the
Right.
beginning of the game, you're like, well, I don't want to do this for 86 hours.
Okay, I didn't have that reaction to Fallout 4. I think I was hooked on that game within about 5 minutes. Um, yeah, that one was a little bit different, but I definitely have had other games that were like that, like your experience with Cyberpunk. I guess I didn't put it down that first week. I maybe put it down like a night, and then I was like, okay, let me try it again.
Well, do
Yeah.
remember, I bought it before you did.
You did.
And so
Yeah.
on top of that, there were technical issues that
That is correct.
So I had to completely reboot my computer every time I wanted to play it. So I make it sound like I'm Sisyphus trying to push a boulder uphill, and all I had to do was restart it. But fuck that. You shouldn't have to ask me to do that.
Right.
Right? Because I had a million things saying, do you want to save this before you do this? Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to. But yeah, when the gameplay loop wasn't working for me, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then when they got it sorted out and I could just play the damn game, I can't tell you what hour it turned over, but I went from Fanny Phrase to enjoying the ever-living
Oh my God.
shit out of this like nobody's. And I'm sitting there reading all these people like, this game doesn't let me do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, is there anything that you enjoy?
There's people who constantly want to shit on that game, and none of them have actually beaten it. So, you know. Or they want it to be just like The Witcher, you know, which it's not.
But it's its own game.
Yeah, it's not. It's a totally different game, you know. That was the first thing that I saw. Oh, why can't I go to third person, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of like that at first, but I was like, actually, no, this game's way better in first person. Shut the fuck up, you know. So, especially once you get the mantis claws.
But because if you look at that in third person, and they mod it out, and you look like this monster, it is just ridiculous. No, and so I'm with you 100%. But and maybe that was my experience with Fallout because of the other ones that I played. Where,
See, I never played Vegas, so yeah.
or 3, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I've said, 1 and 2 are unplayable as far as I'm concerned. It's so boring.
Oh, that's right. 3 is in Capital City, isn't it? Is in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
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 No, I never played that. I know what you're talking about, though. But
That those isometric view ones are just, they're a chore. They're
Can't do it,
such a chore.
I bought that fucking gangster game, thinking it'd be cool, and then all of a sudden realized it was fucking XCOM, and I'm like, oh god. So yeah. It's like I'm not gonna play this. So I'm not gonna play this.
That's
yeah.
right. If a game even tangentially turns into XCOM for you, like you could sniff that out already.
I thought I had it sniffed out.
You're
But
like, oh my god, it's XCOM.
it's XCOM, and I was like, turn-based isometric shooter combat is like my kryptonite.
Percentage based.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. And so it's like guy leans up and then goes back down, and then it's like calculating like hits and shit. It was like his head should pop off if I do
know.
this, you know?
Valkyria Chronicles, the same thing. No,
Well, and that's why I like Cyberpunk so much, because the gunplay was so fucking good, you know? I mean,
that was its saving grace. That
Yeah.
was, and that was. I know that's what you guys were complaining about, but I was like, but it's so meaty, it's so rewarding. And again, all your complaints valid, but for me that disappeared when I became the cowboy of cyberpunk world.
you had the big iron.
Absolutely. And again, this is I'm just going to get this formally on record. I don't hate XCOM. It's not for me.
Right.
Right? There are some people out there where the closer something is to XCOM, the closer you are to excellence because they like that specific thing.
Yeah. That's not me, though.
It's not.
Yeah. It's not
It's not
me.
for either of us.
No. No, I mean I've played my fair share of isometric games. Like I remember playing old Baldur's Gate and shit like that.
Yeah.
They're fine. You
They
know?
are just
it was
fine.
like just go up there, smack. I don't need the stats and stuff, just whack, whack, whack. You know, if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. I'm not going to sit here and plan out every fucking move, you know, kind of thing. And I mean, I've played my fair share of war games, and I have played plenty of versions of isometric, like Panzer General type games, where you literally do kind of sweat over every move, and I actually like those, okay, to a certain level, all right? But you take that and you put it on the individual level with little dudes running around boxes and shit, and that's like, nope, I'm done. So it's like, this is not fun.
I don't know why.
So,
I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
It's funny because you're right. In a lot of ways, it is the same
Sure.
gameplay loop, but there's something about it either it makes me feel like claustrophobic or like if you're putting me in a situation where I have individual dudes going behind boxes, but then you say, now you're not going to do the aiming, right? I guess that doesn't jive for me. Like what you said, like with war games, there's something to putting it in terms of like an Axis and Allies kind of map, and you say like, okay, well I get this. I'm trying to move this here. These are the percentages. This makes sense. And all right, I got it.
Yeah, what was that fantastic one we played on the Xbox years ago? That World War II one that was just 2-player, where you used the card system? Kind of like that board game that I got? Remember we played the fuck out of it?
It was named after the board game. Yeah,
Oh,
it was, if I recall. Yeah, that was the board. It was the.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, it was the Xbox version of that board
Memoir
game.
1944.
Something like that.
Yeah,
It was a super cool game.
That was a really fun game. But it was like that. It was isometric, and you only had so many moves that you could do. So, yeah.
Or it was this many moves plus attack or attack. You know, that you've seen it a million times.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's cool.
It just doesn't work when you get when you get down to the individual dude level. I don't know.
And it should have nothing to do with it. But maybe that's just an old bias. Maybe it's a.
It might be. The other thing we got to watch out for, I hear tale that the next Dragon Age is actually fairly well along. So.
Yeah, but the problem is that BioWare as a company is in complete disarray.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Like their leadership is all over the place. They don't know. They really don't know what they're doing. I don't know. The fact of the matter is, when it comes out, I'm going to play it. And if...
I don't think you ever told me about a game that got claws in me faster than that one did. So,
had no right to.
I think it was like the first minute where you're climbing and you're all stripped down like naked or something. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I love this. And it's gorgeous. So, yeah.
Because when you come down to it, the actual... Again, I hate to say it again, but the gameplay loop of it, if you told me about it in conversation, I'd be like, well, that sounds dumb.
Yeah.
But then when you actually start playing it and there's this piece of you, again, this is you. I get it, but not half as bad as you is. Pat, you are like the maid of whatever universe you're put into. And if you have the job of cleaning up this town, you are fucking in. When the game gives you the sense that the actual community is improving,
right?
You take to that like a duck to water.
Yeah, you're right. You did that in Dragon Age.
You did, and you had choice. The game had the audacity to put you in the captain's chair and let you decide the individual cases.
Oh, you were a judge. That's right.
Right.
You were the king.
And for me, I was like, why isn't this game 40 hours of this shit?
I would have played another
totally
40 hours of
into
that, yeah. So actually, like, improving your community. And then every time you go back to Skyhold after, like, an event in the game, they, like, fix some shit.
Yeah.
And just be like, man, the world is getting better because of me,
right.
the Inquisitor, you know?
Yeah, I have to go out there and I get it. I understand that somebody has to do this job, and why the king is doing this is going out here and picking up all these pieces of scrap metal and shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I understand.
It was really rewarding, though, man.
Of course.
You were the one who taught me that the entire crafting system was busted as fuck in that game.
Not to the game's detriment, though.
No,
it was
no. Because I hear Skyrim's the worst. So, like, there are things you can do in Skyrim now that just absolutely break the game. So
I won't play it.
Yeah,
I won't play
too
it.
much. Just too much.
No,
yeah.
it's not that it's too much. It's that my experience in what should have been a good time in Oblivion
right.
has turned me off to anything in the Elder Scrolls universe. I'm like, I won't visit you
won't
again.
do it.
It's like, sorry, I don't care how many improvements you made to the theme park. I
Right.
threw up on the spider like 4 times, and you're not going to get another dime out of me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, but that's okay. There's no Dragon Age coming. I think I'll be in the mood for swords by the time that comes around again.
Yeah, and I've dinked around with some other stuff. I did. I played the new Halo game. I liked it quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Didn't. It ended for me because I didn't jump into multiplayer, and I won't because I'm old.
Right.
And
yeah.
I'm just not willing to accept that level of humiliation.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy that. I enjoyed Forza Horizon 5. Very great, fun racing. I played an indie game called Unsighted. Didn't get into it as much as I thought I would. I don't know what happened. I got to this point where I just felt like I was wandering, and it made me mad.
There's a game. Well, it could be like that. That's supposed to come out later this year, where you play as a cat in like cyberpunk land. So, have you
I'm
seen
interested.
the previews for that?
No, but I'm interested.
It's supposed to be fascinating. You're supposed to be a cat, and then the whole world is like full of robots and shit, and you got to kind of survive in this, you know. But you have this like little robot friend who's trying to watch out for you and stuff, and just the visuals on it are like stunning. So, you know, and you can like lick your ass and stuff. It's a cat.
You haven't said a single thing that's true.
I know. So it's like one of those ones. You know. Keep your eyes peeled for that one because I'll definitely play that one with you.
Okay, just text me when it comes out.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on it lately, but there were a couple others that were supposed to come out this year. So it'll be really interesting to see if something does come out of Colossal Order. So, because, yeah, we definitely sign up for some Skylines too. We never did play Diablo. So.
Did it come out?
I think it can't. It might not have.
I think
it did.
I know a beta version came out.
Right. We might have to go check and take a look. Then we can do a podcast over a game in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
I did download Red Alert.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I'll play you in that. How much is it? It's like $1.
It was free for me.
Oh, it's free?
Yeah, because it was on Game Pass.
Oh, I still have Game Pass.
Do you?
I think so.
Yeah, that's
I think I do.
plenty of stuff on there that I was playing. But yeah, so there was that.
Oh, yeah, that's where I got Shadow of Mordor. Or, I mean, Shadow of War. So it was on Game Pass.
Up on that game, you were like,
That one got grindy. So I got all the way through it to a point where it was like, okay, so take over all the castles, and then they take them all back. And it's like, take them over again. I'm like, nah.
oh, you know, I know that's right, because I asked you, I said, I was like, how does it do with the lore? And you were like, plays fast and loose.
Yeah. It's fun, but when the game, like after you beat the base game, which is probably about 40 hours, maybe 50.
Okay, that's plenty of game.
Yeah, it's plenty of game. It's easier if you kind of cheese some of the forts, but you figure out how to do that really quickly. Because it's kind of fun in the beginning because you build an army, all right? And so this time you're converting orcs over to your side. And then you get these captains and stuff. They all have randomized traits just like they did in the beginning game. Yeah. Which is fucking fun as shit, okay? So just like collecting guys, and then your guys betray you, and then like there was this one guy.
Okay, that's fun.
Oh, dude, it was great. I hand roasted this guy so many times. I literally cooked his brain, and he would like murder, murder, murder. You know, I was just in stitches.
Like, this is great.
It was great. So, and then like there were other guys like, you know, you could tell like I had tried to get this guy a couple times, but he was like, I guess he had this thing called like iron will or something like that, where he wouldn't bend to my will until eventually I just cooked him enough where, you know, he finally like bent to my will, and he became like my most loyal dude. So I'd be like in a fight and I was gonna get fucking murdered, and this guy would jump in out of nowhere and just kill that guy, and it'd be like, thanks bro, you know. And so you give that guy command of this castle or whatever and stuff like that. So it was really cool for about 40 hours,
right?
And then it got kind of grindy, and it was like, oh my god, I gotta get all this shit together. I gotta get, you know, like these dragon things together and stuff like that. in order to actually take this last one. So finally you take the last one. One of your dudes who is one of the narrators in the game stabs you in the back, takes all your castles back, and you're like, motherfucker. Okay? And you're like, okay, fine, let me try this for a little bit. And then you get involved in the lore with all the Nazgul and Isildur and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, you get through all of that shit. Okay? And what happens? You lose all your castles again. And now it's like taken back. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm done. So, at this point in time, it's like I'm as dangerous as I'm going to get in this game without putting another 100 hours into it. Right. And so, after like a day of just running around and murdering everything that I saw, I was like, nah, I'm good, So, because that one's got the Batman, the Arkham. Yeah. Which is a really fun system, but it's also like...
It is, but I've done it.
Yeah, exactly. After you've done it a lot, it's kind of like, my fingers hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get any better at this unless I really do a deep dive.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. So, it was just like, okay, I've played with Mordor enough. I'm good. Well, it was a fun game, though. So.
Well, I mean, you had fun with the part you played. That's all that matters.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But I totally empathize with, and I have said that out loud in games where just to stop and say, I already did this. Yeah. Right? And it makes me so upset. Oh, yeah. I don't want to be childish about it. And obviously nobody's here, so they shouldn't hear me talking. But yes, it's just like, Don't make me do it again.
Yeah, don't make me do it again. Please don't morph into a worse enemy. Please don't do that.
I know. Don't do that. Don't.
So don't make me use all my ammo on this guy and then drop another one behind me. Come on,
Yeah, and don't do the stupid shit where... I get it. It's a video game, but don't do the thing where it's like, all right, so you throw me into this thing, you... make me clean out 50 of these guys in a row with my bare fist and one grenade, and then I walk forward 6 feet, but the cutscene says 4 guys showed up next to me. They said, put your hands up. And so...
That happened a couple places in Cyberpunk where you're like...
It's so much.
Yeah, I know. You're like, you don't understand. I will murder all of these guys.
Look at my rap sheet.
Yeah, look at my rap sheet, man. So, well, that would actually, the game that did that to you more than any other one that I recall is Red Dead 2.
Did it?
Red Dead 1 did that to you a couple times too. So, where it was just like, no, actually, like, this guy, I don't care if he tries to betray me here. I've got the Carcano I've got the JFK gun. So, yeah, I'm going to get him, So,
well, I mean, you mentioned Dragon Age. I didn't lose the fight to Corypheus.
Oh, I didn't either.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Especially the second
game
time.
says I lost the fight to him.
I did not lose that fight.
I didn't lose that fight.
I did not lose that fight. Yeah.
Bro, when it came to the statistics where I was in any version of this, because I was doing everything, right? Not only did I not lose, I started this fight and I tore my own shirt off and I said, "What's up, bro?"
What's up, bro?
And we got into a little shoving match. I pushed him over a fire hydrant. He broke his head, and I'm doing like 2 to 10 for manslaughter or something, where it's like involuntary manslaughter. It's like, sorry, man, I didn't know.
I didn't know, man.
Right? But yeah, it's my fault.
I don't know my own strength.
Yeah, I ran from the cops. I should have just turned myself in.
Oh, and Fallout 4, there were a couple moments like that too. So
I think so.
Especially at the end of the game, I was so goddamn dangerous, man. So, because you taught me about that fucking railroad pistol thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Where it's just like, pew, 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 behind the back. Pew.
Right.
It's just like shooting down airships,
I know.
that stuff. So it's like, well, if you pull this off and change this piece and put this one on here, and then all of a sudden, you're invincible,
Well, and that is when that game changed from dress for function to dress for fashion.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got the Silver Surfer, not the, what was it? The detective costume.
I don't remember the exact name.
The one with the black coat? Yeah.
That looked dope as shit. And and you'd find like a perfect like gray fedora and you'd match it up. And
yeah, you're out dressing Nick Valentine at that point in time. The only one that I enjoyed wearing more was the general outfit. I was like, I'm the general of the fucking militia around here. Massachusetts is mine. They just run around and like there'd be like super mutants out there. I'd be like, oh no, your kind is not welcome here. So
you let that impact your decisions towards.
I was racist in that game. Yeah. The first time I saw a half-eaten kid, all right, I was like, oh no, this. And they were actually munching on a dog in one of them, and I was like, oh no, because dog meat was my buddy.
Oh,
in that
right,
game.
right.
Yeah, I didn't.
Right.
I didn't use. I used Nick Valentine quite a bit because you had to.
For storyline
crap. So, but all the other ones, I rarely ever took them with me. It was just me and dog meat with this little fucking doggy carrier.
Right.
So, because you get that fat that you can stick on, and then. So yeah, the first time I saw super-mutants munching on a child, I was like, "Oh, all of you are gonna die." And I tried to kill the one that tries to join you. I tried to kill him so many times. The game won't let you do it, man. So I was just like, "Oh, this guy," and I was like, "Yeah, you want to bring a super-mutant?" I was like, "No, I'm going to kill him." So this is what I do.
Yeah, you want to be subtle about it. It's like, no, I don't want to bring on. I'm not okay with him drinking at the same water fountain.
No, absolutely. He is not allowed in my Commonwealth. Yeah. Yeah, that game brought out some of the best and some of the worst in me, man. So, and I was hooked on it like 10 minutes in. I was like, okay. And then later on, where I was like, oh, you can actually fix this game. I was like, excuse me? So I can build in this game? Oh, fuck. So
yeah, I couldn't.
I need to call into work now.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered with that. But that was the other. That was the other piece of the formula that was hooked into you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. And I think I was, yeah. That game dropped when I was actually working, and I think that was one of the few games that really made my I was like 2 weeks behind on my grading and shit. So because I'd get home and I'd be like, oh man, we got to work on the movie theater. So, got to get this place fixed up. How do I get those barrels out of there?
If I recall correctly, you dove into that during like a holiday break, and you put down some marathon sessions that put me to shame.
Oh, I don't know. I could go look it up, but I don't know, man. I think my top game is probably still Transport Fever 2, slowly followed by yeah. Well, that was just a sit and let it run kind of game. So that one did. So like active shit was probably like Skylines behind that. So I know I'm well over 700 or 800. Well, I don't know if it's well over 600 hours in that.
We'll check
game.
At some point.
Yeah, but then like some of the ones on the Xbox, like I've done 2 full complete playthroughs of Red Dead 2, and that's crazy, man. That's a 100-hour game. That thing's so long.
But did it feel like 100 hours?
By the end, yeah. So that game has got like the most exhausting ending. So it really does, because the pacing of the game suddenly changes. It goes fast, fast, fast. All right. If you do the missions and shit, you can fuck around a lot. All right. In the first 4 or 5 chapters of that. But then the last 2 chapters, the pace deliberately slows down to just draw out your death because you're dying from tuberculosis.
Lovely.
It is depressing, but it is excellent.
Well, it's effective.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, it's a cinematic thing, man. It's like, it's the closest game that I've seen in a while where it's like, oh, this is a movie, and I'm in it. It's pretty cool. So.
Well, okay. Now, on the other hand, I will say that the ending of Shenmue 2 is also very long.
Yeah.
But it is also not effective because... So here's the thing, is you have the... Technically speaking, from a storytelling standpoint, this would be the denouement, right?
Okay.
So, after the high point fight with where you and Ren of Heavens take on Yuan Dazu, that's the last fight of the game, right? Then you have to travel from Hong Kong to China.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the ending. And it makes you walk the travel, right?
Oh, you told me about this. Yeah.
Yes, and what happens is you keep... This is... Fucking... Okay. Games where to walk, you have to hold down the trigger and just point your person, right? Like you're driving a car.
Right.
Right? So you're doing this, and all that happens is the person you're traveling with keeps asking you stupid questions, and you have to choose responses. But you do this in the course of walking over the course of like 2 hours, where it's actually like you could look on the map of China, you can see, okay, well, you're walking from here to here.
Yeah, it looks like it's right next door. Well, it is.
Well, no, but how far out on this map are you zoomed out? You're actually walking this journey and you're walking it in real time.
Oh, shit.
And all that happens is this dumb person keeps asking you dumb things about, like, so how is Japan? And your options are like, good, I miss it. Good, and I miss it.
So it's not even reflective.
Fuck no. You're just choosing these dumbass answers, and you just have to make them walk.
Okay.
Now, again, that's part of the charm of this game, because it was based in the mundanity of life. So, again, I told you about this. I'm like, can I make his bladder explode with 50 jet colas?
Right.
No. I've been trying to make.
That's the one where you move boxes too, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is the thrill of the game.
Yeah.
But what is the term? It's like the more you stipulate on reality, the more unrealistic something gets.
Absolutely.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but when it turned out I could drink 50 pops and not make him pee himself.
Yeah.
Then I was disappointed. Right.
Yeah.
When
You're like, the game let me down. Yeah.
It shouldn't. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I making you eat 50 candy bars
Right.
in order to get you to poop?
Yeah.
It's like, I should be okay with not doing this, but that's the tricky part is that. But then when you throw in something that is ultra realistic of, well, you have to walk this. There's a tree in the road. There's no cars here.
Right.
This is China in like 1987.
Yeah.
Nobody would drive you. You're going to a remote village.
Yeah.
And then I can't believe you're making me do
You gotta make me do it. Then you get that realization that there's not gonna be a cutscene.
You son
And
of
you're
a
like,
bitch.
fuck.
Yeah. You have made me walk for like 45 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. And that's the same thing that would happen in real life, was people who just met you would be like,
Yeah.
so where are you from? And you have to think about how to answer that question. You're just like, I'm proudly from Colorado Springs. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Versus, do you know where the United States is?
Right. Yeah.
It's broken up into what we would consider
Yeah.
provinces,
Yeah.
but we call them states.
Yeah. Let's talk about experiments in democracy. All right, man. We're way over here. We're at buck 36.
All right.
You know what I got going on video games, man. That happens.
Well, yeah, I know. But good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
I'm Pat.
Jeffrey.
Any parting thoughts?
No, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Just click it. We're over.
Click it. We're over. See ya.
Goodbye.